Hi, I'm Everett Percoco, and you're at Box 109 American Prime at the Hotel Indigo in Newton, Mass. Today we're cooking barbecued beef brisket. We have some beautiful Brandt all-natural, the true all-natural beef from Brawley, California. Beautiful piece of meat here. This piece of meat weighs about 8 pounds or so. And when cooking beef brisket, you should figure about 2 to 3 hours per pound in a very slow oven. So let's get started with the beef brisket right now. I'm going to take the beef brisket and just carefully remove some of the fat right off the top. With a very sharp knife. You don't want to remove too much fat because the fat will keep the beef moist as it's cooking for many hours. Like I said, this is about 8 pounds of meat, and at 2 to 3 hours per pound, obviously it's going to be in the oven for quite some time. The bottom of it looks pretty clean. There's no sinew on it. And normally if you saw some sinew on there, you'd want to remove that too. So it's looking pretty clean. Right now, I'm just going to put this over here as we start the rub. Okay, for the barbecue rub, we're going to take some ancho chili peppers, which are sun-dried pasilla chili peppers. And they're kind of firm right now. And for us to work with them, what I like to do is slowly roast them in the oven just to soften them up. So I'm going to take these and throw them in the oven for about 2 minutes. They burn very quickly, so keep a close eye on them. Okay, 2 minutes have passed. And let's see. Oh, look at that. They've popped up. They're soft and they're pliable. So what I'm going to do is just remove all the seeds. See all the seeds in there? I want to get rid of those. I want to work with them fast because as they cool, they'll firm up again. So 2 clean chili pods. I'm just going to take these and chop them up into some fine pieces. If you can't find the whole chili pods, McCormick Spices can sell you, or supermarket can sell you some of the ancho chili powder already processed and ground. So I've added it into our spice grinder, and all we're going to do is just grind away. Okay, so the ancho chili pepper gives a lot of depth and character to the barbecued rub. So I've got about 2 tablespoons there, actually a little bit more than that. Now, a way to get smoky flavor into your barbecue rub without using hardwood is I like to use Spanish smoked paprika, and that really works out well for us. So I'm going to add about 5 tablespoons of smoked paprika, and then I've got a little bit of cayenne pepper here. Remember, you can always add ingredients to it. If you want it hotter, add more cayenne. If you don't want it as hot, don't add any cayenne. In traditional barbecue rubs, they like to use a lot of cumin. There's black pepper. You have some coriander, a little bit of garlic powder, salt. Then I'm going to use a little bit of brown sugar. I have about a cup of brown sugar here. I like the barbecue rub a little bit sweet. It will also keep the meat moist when cooking. So I'm just going to blend this up with my hands. I'm going to remove all the lumps from the brown sugar and making sure that everything is well incorporated. Now that the barbecue spice is ready to go, I'm going to place on some latex gloves to protect myself from later on when I pull my contacts out. I definitely don't want to burn my eyes. So if you have some latex gloves, whatever you might want to use to rub the rub on the piece of brisket, I would suggest you protect your hands. So, got this beef brisket all cleaned up from before. I'm just going to take some of the rub and slowly sprinkle it on top and rub it right into the meat. You want to get the rub into all the little nooks and crannies of the meat. This actually works as a cure on the meat to inhibit bacteria growth. So again, look for any types of areas in the meat where you want to seal up with some of that rub. We're looking pretty good here right now, but definitely massage it in there. Okay, looks like we've completely covered the brisket in the rub. Now I'm going to put it into a hotel pan or roasting pan. If you have a rack for it, that would be great. If not, it's not necessary. I'm going to just center it right in there, and then I'm going to pour some water into the bottom of the pan. So, after you rub the brisket, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it. I've poured some water in the bottom of the pan. I'm going to wrap it with a piece of plastic wrap to seal it real well, to keep all that moisture in. And then I'm going to wrap it with aluminum foil. Again, making sure that it's sealed real well to keep all that moisture in there. I like to put 2 pieces of foil on top. All right, so we said it was between 6 and 8 pounds, so we're figuring about anywhere from 14 to 16 hours at 250 degrees, and we'll show you how to check that. So let's throw this in the oven, and we'll see you in 12 hours. While your brand all natural beef brisket is cooking in the oven for 12 to 14 hours, we have some time to make some quick barbecue sauce. And what we're going to do here for this recipe is we're going to fortify some of the barbecue sauce that we use at Box 109. We make Karma Jitters is what we call it. We get some great locally roasted coffee from a local coffee roaster in Sudbury called Karma Coffee, and we fortify some house-made barbecue sauce here at Box 109. So we're going to take that barbecue sauce and we're going to continue to fortify it with cacao, which is unprocessed chocolate. So it's just the seeds of the chocolate pod that have been roasted, and it comes to me like this, and we use it for desserts, or we cook with it in something like barbecue sauce. So I'm going to mature some of that in a hot pan with just a little bit of butter. So I got the butter melting. I'm just going to add a little bit of the cacao to the butter and that cook together. Doesn't take very long to mature because, again, it's already roasted. So we're just kind of trying to revive it by bringing it to temperature with some fat, being the butter. Okay, so I got a little foam on top there. The butter's browning. The cocoa or the cacao is maturing. At this point also, if you wanted to add alcohol to it, you could. Maybe some Old Grandad or some Jack Daniels, which are great ingredients for barbecue sauce. But we've got all of that in our house-made barbecue sauce already. So we're just going to add this house-made barbecue sauce, the Karma Jitters, right into this cacao. Here's some of the extra barbecue spice rub that we had from the beef brisket, and we're going to season this barbecue sauce with just a little bit of the spice rub. Okay, the sauce is simmered for about 15 minutes. It's thickened up a little bit. I'm just going to give it a little taste here for seasoning, see how it is. It's really good, nice and spicy, and the actual cacao has now softened up. It's absorbed some of the liquid which is in the barbecue sauce. And in the words of a late great chef, television chef, Justin Wilson, I'd like to say, hooey, that's good. All right, so I'm going to take the barbecue sauce and I'm going to blend it here. So I'm just going to puree. Nice. The cacao has really thickened up the sauce, but again, you're really going to start tasting that chocolate inside the barbecue sauce now. Oh, that's delicious. That's going to go great on the brisket. After a good night's sleep and a long night in the restaurant, and 14 hours of cooking on this beef brisket, it's ready to go. Really tender. If you just poke it with a knife, you can see that it just releases almost like a baked potato, or when you're cooking potatoes for mashed potatoes. You're looking for the brisket to release when you poke it. That's when you know it's done. It's also pretty loose in its feel now. So I'm going to just take some of this hot brisket and slice it up. And again, one thing that's very important is to cut it against the grain, which I've done very nicely. Man, that smells great. Okay, so I'm going to take some cheddar cheese and rosemary biscuits that we've made, which is another video on How To Heroes. I'm going to plate them, and they're really small. If you want to make biscuits that are bigger, that's fine. If you wanted to serve your brisket on something other than biscuits, like maybe a potato roll or something like that, feel free. It's just food. Eat it the way you like it. Okay, so I've placed some brisket on the biscuit, and now I'm going to add some of our cacao-infused barbecue sauce right on top of that. Oh, it's thick. Looks good. Top it with some of our hot weed. The top's back on it. Then we're just going to garnish the plate. You know, if you want to just throw a little barbecue sauce around, that's fine. You could also dust it with a little bit of the barbecue spice. There you have it. It's Brant all-natural barbecued beef brisket with hot weed slaw and cheddar cheese biscuits with a little cacao-infused barbecue sauce.